Alright, just to kick things off, please note that we are not going to review this. As our name is on the product, that wouldn't be fair. So instead we're going to take an objective look at the specs, the abilities, and showcase what the device can actually do. With that said, here it is, the Goodereader X Bigme Inknote Color. This is the latest device from the manufacturer Bigme and the first device from Goodereader since 2015. It features, well, everything. A 10.3-inch Kaleido Plus Color EInk screen with note-taking, 128 gigs onboard storage, 4 microphones, 2 speakers, 2 cameras, and an SD card slot with a SIM card slot built in. It also has a fingerprint sensor, a stylus charging port, and warm lighting. It's also bundled with Google Play and has English on board as well as many other languages. But what is it like as an e-reader, a manga reader, a PDF reader, and a note-taker? The pen that comes with this unit is called the A5, and comparing that against the A3, you'll see that they're identical in every single way except for one. They have a charging port on the side of the A5 pen. This has a 2-pin copper contact in which magnetically it snaps to the side of the device in order to charge it. You do not need to charge the pen in order to use the pen, you only need to charge it if you want to take advantage of the Bluetooth capabilities. Although the A5 pen comes with the unit itself, of course, you can use any other pen on the market, and to prove our point, we're going to use the iFlytek pen, because honestly, this is a really nice pen. This is the home screen on the unit. You can press home to go home at any given time. This is the absolute furthest back you can go. The top bar and the sidebar will never go away on the home screen, depending on where you go. For example, notes, if you go to local storage, those things are going to remain the same. Menu management down here is where you're going to be able to change a bunch of things. You can turn them off or on respectively. Therefore, they will either show up or not show up. You can also go to the settings up above, and this is where you're going to find all your Wi-Fi, your glow light. We'll show you the glow light in a little bit. EInk Center is a go-to because this is where your contrast, your saturation, and of course, most importantly, your speed modes are going to be. We'll show you that when we get into a video. Going over to notes is where you're going to have all of your notes, and you can go to meeting records where you can actually take your audio and writing all in one, which will show you at the top end of the note-taking segment. There's something also very interesting that Bigme does, is that sometimes you're not able to take notes on something. For example, if you go to your home screen and maybe you're not able to draw with your pen, you can actually go over here and turn on global handwriting. What this does is allow you to write over on the very top layer of everything. So if you're on an ebook, if you're on your settings menu, you can actually now turn on global handwriting and write over absolutely anything you want with still using the eraser, the type of pen, and even the colors. Black and white reading does look a little bit gray, and this is the inherent nature of just using color. When you use color screens, you naturally have a less beautiful black and white experience, and that's because the way EInk works, the only way you can get color right now outside of DES, which has no practical application, is that they're trying to actually use colors to create whites and grays. So they're using blues and greens and reds and purples to try to create the absence of color, and it ends up just looking a little bit muddy. But that's just in black and white, and that's not why you buy a color unit. You buy a color unit for the color. And when you have color on your unit, finally you're looking much better. You will see that it is moving very slowly, and this is because we are on the top level quality mode, meaning that when you are looking at this and it finally stops and renders, it's going to look flawless. All the staining has gone away. Everything looks as it should. Now, if you want to speed this experience up a little bit, you can go over to here to the settings menu, to EInk Center, and then go down to a faster speed mode. Now that you do that, it is incredibly fast. night and day different than what you were just on. Now, the downside about this with ePaper and EInk is that you get a lot more staining in the background, and it doesn't refresh and render quite as much. So although you have very good inertia, it just slowly comes to a crawl like that. Once it stops, you see there's no flashing. You will have some odds and ends where it will randomly refresh at certain times, but for the most part, it's always going to be just ready to go. So you're in a stasis mode like this, you're at the very top, you can move it, and there's no refreshes, there's no rendering, there's no kind of anything getting in the way to hinder the experience other than the overall quality reduction. So the robustness of the note-taking experience is in the higher end of things, not as crazy as Onyx when it comes to the amount of functionality, but it is definitely up there. You have pen, pencil, and brush. No, pencil does not support tilt, only Remarkable does that. You have a lot of different colors on this unit, 16 total actually, and because of the raised PPI on the color screen, yellow and browns actually work properly. A lot of color e-ink devices don't show things very well like yellows, browns, and the distinctions between blues, but this one actually handles it exceedingly well. You also have many different shapes, and you can simply press the shapes icon, and when you press something it just lands in the middle of the screen. Simply move it over, change the size dimensions, click outside to stamp it onto the actual surface, and away you go. You can do some text conversion as well. So if you go over here, it's to be considered transliteration, I guess the way they say it, by going to transfer text. And it's all very quick. So for example, what it does is it actually goes through the entire notepad and translates everything, not just the page you're on. So you'll see everything we wrote, square, line, triangle, etc., will be converted. And of course, the page we were just on, where it says, let us now convert some text, there it is right in front of you. Once you have converted everything you've written, your entire handwritten letter, you can go over here to export all. You can export every single page together as a PDF file or a single file as a TXT. You can add in photos as well. You simply go over here, click on photo, go to your photo roll, basically anything in your pictures category or in the device storage. Click on something like that. Going to put it right in the middle of the screen. You can move it around, you can delete it, you can stamp it, you can say okay, I want it right there. Once you do press okay on it, it is right on there. You can start drawing on it, you can edit it, you can change it all up, and then once you are finished with your Picasso, you can go ahead and say export file. And once you do, once again, you can do single pages, page 5 out of 5 for example, as a single page image file, or the entire book that you've just created, notes, pictures, drawings, blueprints, as an entire PDF compilation. Meeting record is really interesting too, because you can actually keep the top for your entire dictation, and you can play everything back, change the volume and everything, and on the bottom you can keep all of your notes. Not only that, you can click on template, in which you have a ton of office templates, 3 pages in fact, of a whole bunch of things, meeting schedule, leave form, registration, or you can go to defaults and you get even more simple things like black, white, plan, calendar, Cornell notes, horizontal, you name it. So you can click on something like blank white, you have your blank white at the bottom, and you can take all of your notes up top using your voice. Hello, I am recording this right now because that is what I have set out to do during this video. As you can see, everything is being transcribed live as I am talking right in front of all of your eyes. It might not be 100% accurate, but it will all depend on the way you talk into the device itself. Of course, the unit does come with out-of-the-box Google Play, which means you don't need to do any back-end sign-ins. You don't need to do any workarounds. You don't need to tap here to bind this to a fake Google account in order to make it work. It just simply works right out of the gates, which means you click on Google Play and it turns on. If you haven't signed in yet, all you do is put your email and password, sign in, and then you're into Google Play. From here, you can enjoy anything that will support Google Android 11, which is the latest possible version of Android in the world on ePaper, and it will work perfectly fine. As I said, we're not gonna give this a score or say if it's good or bad, it just simply is. We will leave the scores and thoughts up to the other reviewers we've sent samples to, but for now we hope you enjoyed this look at the Goodereader Bigme Inknote Color. For Goodereader.com, this is Peter.